It is an amazing afternoon. Welcome to the Real Talk Show. And I won't even say I'm your host today because today's edition has so many hosts. It's actually a host edition. I'm so glad to welcome you guys to this amazing show. And the weather is doing us good. Apparently, rumor has it that the weather is like this because yesterday was boyfriend's day and the men's hearts are cold. So kudos to the men. Thank you so much for this amazing weather. But nevertheless, I would love to welcome everybody right here. And today we are unpacking the role of young people in leadership, decision making, and promoting health and well-being. Welcome to the show, my amazing hosts.
Thank you, Malungo. Thank you. How are you doing? How's been
Good.
Zambia?
It's the New Yorkers. Let me just inform the people out there, guys. Talking about decision making, leadership. Somebody was in New York just a few days ago, but we'll talk about that when we go deep in the conversation. My fellow Zambian Iga, since it looks like Jeremiah is not Zambian right now, how are you doing?
Hi Malungo, I'm doing okay, and I hope you're doing well. I'm also excited. I saw Liverpool winning another match yet in the UEFA Champions League. I can see Van Dijk behind you, so yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited to.
yeah. We are the champions. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm so glad to be having this conversation with the three great minds. Showing would probably Faith will probably join us very soon. I'm sure Airtel or MTN whatsoever is just misbehaving, but it's good that we're having a conversation about leadership with leaders here. We're having a conversation about decision making with people who make good decisions. I hope we are also having a conversation about health and well-being with people who know so much about that. And of course, we're going to interact with the viewers out there. So let's just dive right into it. I think we'll start with our New Yorker. What do you have to tell us about youth leadership?
Um, Thank you so much. I like that you're calling me a New Yorker.
I
I
know.
think this is to separate yourself from Zambia because of all the problems that we are currently experiencing in the country. But much, Malungo. For those that may not know me, my name is Lubumbe Jeremiah Mulanda. I am a member of the Youth Platform, a host of the Real Talk, and it's a pleasure to be having this conversation with you guys. Um, so to set the scene, I think that young people play a very, very critical role in leadership, decision making, and overall promoting health and well-being. And their role cannot be underestimated by any person because health is wealth to begin with. And many of the health challenges that the country currently experiences or the globe currently experiences are mainly affected by the young people. So if you talk about, for example, high HIV infections, the people that are mostly affected are the young people.
Yeah.
Let's talk about mental health, for example. The people that are mostly affected are the young people, and statistics continue to prove this. Let's talk about child marriages and teenage pregnancies. Let's talk about issues to do with alcohol, illicit alcohol, sexually transmitted infections, non-communicable diseases, you name it. The list goes on and on. All of these issues are affected by young people. Thus, it's important for young people to begin to take keen interest in addressing these challenges. Because think of it like this: it would be absurd for you to be going through something and not being part of the solution
The
to ending
decision
that.
making. Yeah.
Like, exactly, like, it doesn't make sense because we strongly believe that when you are going through a problem, you are the best person to describe the solution for yourself because you understand the problem better.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, that is why it is important for young people to take a keen interest in promoting health and well-being.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to hear from you guys and your various experiences how young people can do this because the how is one thing and the why is another thing. But where do you even begin from is a conversation that many young people have had, many young people have asked me, and maybe I'll give it back to you, Malongo. How's been your experience? How can young people begin to participate in leadership and decision making when it comes to their health, and where do they even start from?
Okay, so firstly, I'll steal a line that you said in your statement, you mentioned that young people face most of the problems, actually, and that's very true. Young people face most of the problems, especially to do with our health, to do with decision making, to do with government as well. You know, we have these people who are not young, but then they're making decisions for us. But do they know the decisions that we are facing, like the problems that we are facing ourselves? So, just as a young people, or as a young person rather, for you to be able to take part in leadership and decision making, I think it's very important to put yourself out there as a young person. I'll give an example of TYP. TYP has been a platform that's able to accommodate youths in all angles. We just don't talk about health, we talk about leadership, we talk about internships, we talk about decision making. That's where it starts from. You don't have to go to the higher office for you to be able to take part in decision making for you and your youth and your country, but you can start from right there. So even just as youths, let's start to have conversations that are surrounding these things, because that's the only way that we can have solutions, you know. So it doesn't matter where you are, your circle, that is where everything starts from. I think that's what I can say about that. Yeah. Unless if Faith has something to say. Welcome to the show, Faith. I know Airtel did something to you, but you are here now.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I don't even know what I have missed, where I'm starting from. I don't even know what to say, but thank you for having me back.
No, don't worry. It's so easy to catch up. So we just started our conversation and we're talking about the role of us young people in leadership and decision making and promoting health. So Jeremiah just posed the question asking us on where we think we can start from as youths when it comes to leadership, decision making, or promoting health and well-being. So if you can have an idea, actually, I know you do have ideas. Where do you think, as young people, we have to start from in order for us to make this work?
First and foremost, my personal opinion. Please don't roast me. I think it all starts with one thing we have to accept is that we are the young people. That is number one. Of course, we have the energy and the enthusiasm that we want to make the change that we want to see. But then we shouldn't be overzealous. It's okay to be zealous, but not overzealous. Let's not overlook at the already existing power and leadership. Okay, but let's try to be involved and learn, because then when we learn from the already existing, then we're going to be better leaders. Trust me, as young people, we might have so many ambitions, we might have all these things to say, no, we need to change how things are happening because we want us to be accommodating. But at the end of the day, as much as we are doing that, let's try to go into the right way and the right channels. So involvement is very important. We should get ourselves involved and not start running without even knowing where we are running to. So basically, for me, that is that's that.
Eager, we are back. We are back for you now. How's it?
Well, it's actually hard to speak after so much information has been given. You guys have given solid information, and I think I'd just like to echo what Faith has said. Uh, Most importantly, it's good for us to advocate for the involvement of young people in leadership and decision making,
Yeah.
processes as well as initiatives that help promote the health and the well-being of young people. But most importantly, what ought to be done is being given a chance, or you know having or taking the time to improve our capacity to play in the various roles that we might take up. Because if I'm given a leadership
Yeah.
role today, am I capable is the biggest question. It's not just about being there, it's about what you bring to the table when you're given an opportunity. And I think for me, that's where now platforms like the QIP come into play. I know you haven't asked me this question, but allow me to answer it.
I think you're reading my mind, because trust me, I was coming with a question to do with that.
Yeah, so that's where platforms like QIP come into play, where you are given a chance to practice your leadership skills. You're given a chance to make a decision, and then after you make a decision, whatever results come out of that decision, you accept it as a team. That way, you are taught first of all to be bold and be strong and be able to make risky decisions. And when these things fail, also you are taught how to accept them, to be accountable, and say, you know what, I made a decision and this didn't work out, or I tried to lead at this point and I didn't lead the right way, or things like that. So um, about everything, we must make it a personal mission to be able to grow ourselves, but it's also important to align with those who are going the same way. And I think for young people like me, I've been fortunate enough to align myself with CIP, which happens to give me such a platform to innovate, to lead, to play a role in the decision making process, and just gain so much information insofar as health promotion is concerned, as well as how we as young people can play a role in advocating for the well-being of young people and the country at large.
Amazing, amazing. So, I had one question. I think this question can go to everybody, but since Jeremiah decided to drop off, so I'll start with you. I'll start with you. So you've been with TYP for quite some time, yeah? And I would just want to know, in what ways has TYP helped you or supported you when it comes to your personal growth and your professional growth? How exactly has it helped you?
Thank you so much, Malongo, for that question. I think that's a very, very important question. Uh, Precisely because that you ask based on my personal
Yeah,
growth, personal development, and my professional development. I'll start with my professional development. TYP has strategically positioned me in so many spaces that have exposed me to so many other different things, right? So TYP is kind of like a gateway to many other opportunities. It jump starts you to many other things, right? You
yeah,
sit on tables where different conversations are happening. You build your network, you strengthen your network, and all of that, which has been good, right?
yeah,
And also
yeah,
the fact that I'm in a space where I am able to learn. It TYP is sort of like a training ground for young people, and not just like myself. I know that before me, there were certainly young people, and after me, likewise, there will be young people.
yeah,
But TYP provides that conducive environment where young people can come in and learn, where young people can come in and just fail, right? And I mean fail forward. So
yeah,
you bring this idea, you try it, it doesn't work out. See what we've done with the regional adolescent health in that. I have been part of the regional adolescent health in that, I think, for the last 2 years, and every single year has been learning, right? So we've been getting better and better at the craft, and the work is Idelanga. It's showing, right? You can
yeah,
see the progress that we are making. Personally, as well, through TYP, I have been able to, meet so many people like you guys on the show here. I have met friends, I have met
yeah,
colleagues. The executive director is my mentor too. I look up to him. So every once in a while, he shares wisdom with me, not just
yeah,
professionally, but personally as well. And that has been able to, you know, put me on to so many other things, developing skills. It's a space where even outside work, we are able to sit down, as colleagues and friends and just share one or two things. So that has pretty much, been very, very insightful for my career, professionally and personally. But the question that you asked before, I quickly wanted to add that I know that there are so many young people who are listening to this and thinking, how do I start? Right?
yeah.
Now, the thing I have learned about starting is you don't start far, you start near. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that makes sense. I'll say that
Yeah,
again. Just sticks. You don't start far, you start near. The problem is that sometimes we want to start far. What do I
yeah,
mean? You want to start with things that are very far from your reach. I'll give you an example. How I started my advocacy journey is that I started working back when I was in high school with organizations that were coming to my school. So that's me starting near, starting with
yeah.
something within my reach. Now, the thing nowadays is, and I got this from just being in New York, everyone now wants to go to New York
New
for the
York, New
job.
York. I also want to go to New York.
Everyone wants to go to the UN, right? And yeah, like it's nice, it's a good goal to have, but that's you starting from far, right?
Yeah,
Start from something that is within your reach, because I just didn't start and I found myself at the United Nations. No, 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 it doesn't work like that. You start with
Yeah.
something that's very near. So the question I'm asking is, what is something that's near you? Do an introspection. There's probably an organization within your reach. You probably have someone who is, working for an organization that you can intern with. You probably know someone who's within a youth group. You probably know someone who, you probably know someone that knows someone that can connect you to an organization that might ultimately lead you there. So start very, very near and then keep growing, and then you will keep going very far. So it doesn't work in reverse. You start small, just like I did, also starting with organizations like the Youth Platform, organizations like Plan International, and many other organizations. And now here I am, here you guys are. So you start, very, very near. Now I know that the comment section is buzzing. And please send your comments, send your questions, send your contributions. We love to hear them. Tell us where you're watching from. Um, so this one is coming from Tinashe, all the way from Livingston. And they're saying they're watching us from Livingston. We hope that the tourist capital is okay, and thank you so much for joining us. Do we have any other comments? Faith also comes from saying, following. Thank you so much, Faith. We are glad that you are following us. Another one from Daniel comes through and says, are we expecting any events from TYP this 2024? That's a good question. I that's
Dang it.
that's that's way beyond my pay grade, so I'm not gonna
Beyond
say
our
yes,
reach.
but we'll get in touch with you, Daniel. Stay updated with our social media platforms. We'll let you know. Mbaza comes to and says, how does one become a member of the organization? So, Mbaza, if you are hearing me, just go to www.theyouthplatform.org and you'll find instructions of how you can be a member of the youth platform. I'll come to you, Malungo, even as we continue having this conversation. Um, can you share a specific TYP project or initiative that pushed you out of your comfort zone and helped you build your confidence? It can be anything.
Okay. I would love to feel like you're asking the wrong person that question because I'm a new member of TYP, but no, no, I'm just kidding. Nevertheless, I think the greatest involvement I've had with TYP has been me hosting this show. That has been like the first. And already just me hosting the show. I remember the first episode I had, I wasn't so confident. And I think our boss behind closed doors was actually telling me like, you can do it. He kept advising me and telling me I could do it, and I just had to be strong. And just as I kept going, the conversations that were here on this show are actually the ones that use me to do better. You want to know why? Because these were conversations that had an impact on me. Not only an impact on the people who are watching, but an impact on me as well. So I would say the show has really done something good to me. And not only has it boosted my confidence, but it has also made me to be recognized by people out there because of just being on this show. I went for a workshop just 2 days ago that was organized by Water Aid. And then I'm there at the workshop. I'm having these people telling me, oh, I actually know you from TYP. I know you from the Real Talk Show. No, can you tell us something that you have to say about this? Because they see what this show has done for me, and they see certain conversations that we have here, and they see just how much that has managed to raise me, and it has raised the bar for me as well. So TYP has done a good job. Not forgetting the Rahai. The Rahai has also been amazing because it introduced me to this whole space I wasn't aware of. It had spaces of politicians, it had spaces of organizations, of youth, even people from other countries who we could share knowledge with, and that just helped me grow in all aspects. I wouldn't lie. So kudos to TYP. TYP has really done the most in my life. Yeah. Faith, welcome back. Please, which network? I think we need to really fight the network you're using.
Trust me, right now I'm using all the three networks you have in Zambia, but it's just not in my favor.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question, hoping that you not really being a politician, but I want you to think politically, because in Zambia, most of the decisions that are made in this country pass through the political route. I think that's something that everybody can agree too. So, how do you think youth involvement is essential when it comes to creating policies and programs that are relevant to us? How do you think our involvement is essential?
How do I think our involvement is essential? In what again?
Yeah, in creating policies or programs that are relevant to the needs of the young people.
All right. Um,
Yeah.
I think we have a key role to play. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said in my first question that I was given, you can't just say we are we have the power to change. Okay.
Yeah.
So our involvement determines what we want to see ourselves. You know what I mean? Today we are literally blaming, I don't know who's listening to me, but this is my personal view and it's my
Mm-hmm.
personal opinion. With everything that is going right or wrong in the country, people are saying the government. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
So then, as young people, I think it should be a thorn in the throat upon yourselves and say, okay, why should it be all about the government? What about we? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Because you're going to say, no, the people in the forefront have already designed things. So how then do we get ourselves there? So I feel like as young people, we need to get ourselves involved. And I feel what we have been doing so far, I think is the best way to start. Like you just mentioned, you were at the Rahai and you had a few conversations with some politicians. You know, I feel like these people who we are calling to say politicians, others have got um a good opinion about them, others have a bad opinion about them. But I feel like these are people that we can talk to and we can be heard. Okay. And it starts from there. You tell the opportunity that you had to talk with one of the MPs or maybe more MPs that came to the Rahai. What did you think about them? Do you think there were people who were so rigid that they didn't want to listen to the young people?
Actually, there
Of
were
course, they were
people
open
who
enough to have
wanted to listen to
conversations.
the young people. Yeah. Yeah.
You get. So it's like we are there blaming people who I think to an extent they are not even aware of our thoughts as young people. So what we can do is basically let's not be in the talking background. Like let's put ourselves out there, by getting ourselves into different spaces. And if you have an opportunity to talk to an MP, don't just rely on saying that Wanga Bakamba Vaso. What if you are the person who will talk to that person and make them change to look at certain things in a way that you want them to be seen? Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, those people are there. And what you need from them is you to be close to them so that you can learn from them. And when they're out, you have a chance to stand there. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just us. It's just us. Let's create that for ourselves and let's not always go with the negative that people have been saying. Let's change the notion. So we have what it takes, I think.
Iga, do you think I'm glad that you're back because you're the greatest politician I had here. Do you think we
Yes,
as
please. I think this was even my wrong question.
I know he just tried and then I needed you as well. But do you think us youths have a very big problem when it comes to being involved in decision making and leadership, especially on the government level, on the higher level? Do you think we are a problem in some way?
Before I give my powerful answer, please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So it's a two-way thing, right? I'll start by saying yes, I do think that we young people do not do enough insofar as decision making is concerned, especially in the governance sector. For one reason, um, I feel like for the most part, number one, we don't show as much interest as we should in national
Yeah.
affairs. We
Mm-hmm.
don't enough, we don't read enough, we are not enough to learn about things that concern us and the, the many structures that be able to help young people in their lives. And then secondly, for the few that are involved in some of these processes, there's a lot of um, dubious means of making certain doing things. Uh, I think that also the decision making processes about about a month ago, I had an opportunity to speak. I brought out this fact. I said, very sad that a lot of us young people are making certain life decisions or certain uh, choices based on the fact that we are hungry and we just want to eat at the end of the day. It's not really about the bigger picture. I think it would be better if we have of delayed gratification. You starve today so that you can eat more tomorrow, or maybe you eat minimum today so that in the future you can have 4 or 5 days of eating. It's a continuous process. Um, and then the older folk politicians also are putting factor because they are the ones that are giving us the hand in some instances. I mean, there are some great politicians, but there are some who are instilling this type of young people. Away from that, I could say a lot about that, but there are also some amazing young people who are doing great things. Some young people who have got high level integrity, who are hardworking, who are patriotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing their very best to make sure that they make decisions, and ultimately their dedication, their work is about making Zambia a whole greater country than it is. And yeah, so ultimately, I think it's a two-way street. There are some amazing young people, but we can do better. We can definitely do if we wake up and keep these conversations. And I think it goes down to starting near, Jeremiah said earlier. You don't have to wait until you're an influential figure for you to have meaningful conversations with people and reminding them about the importance of patriotism. Start from where you are, 3, 4 people, to spark the conversation and make them see the bigger picture. Have impacted 15, 20 other people. So start where we are and let's hold these amazing conversations.
Yeah, I liked the fact that you mentioned that it's a two-way thing. I think I'll just want to comment when it comes to the young people section. I think young people don't, we pretend like we want to be involved, but deep down we don't want to. Because if we really wanted to be involved, we would have been seeing a lot of young people in front there. No, it's not like anyone chases us. No one chases us. People would be there on social media saying, hey, politicians don't listen to us. Politicians don't do this. The government, we can't get involved in decision making. We can't do that. But are you actually going there and trying to make a difference? We're so good at talking, but we are not good at actually working on what we are talking about. Actions are lower than what we just talk about. So that one also has to be looked on when it comes to young people, and we really have to take it up. We need to take it up ourselves, because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we are the ones who are going to be there. We'll be the main people who are actually facilitating for those decisions to pass. So if we can't start now, how do we think we're going to be doing that later? And I think that's what kills decision makers at some point. You'd find someone is growing, someone knows nothing about decisions, someone knows nothing about what's good for the country, and then they get to that age and just say, oh, I just want to be a decision maker. You end up making decisions that are not even being helpful. Why? Because you haven't been following the chain. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's on the ground. So I'd just love to urge young people out there that you don't have to be a politician for you to make decisions. Okay, you don't have to be a government official for you to make decisions. You just have to be a youth who wants to see change and who wants to see things work accordingly, or work on the things that you are facing as youths. I think that's really important for
Thank you.
us youth.
Not to cut you short. Not to cut you
It's
short.
okay, he's raising a hand.
I raise my hand.
So yeah, just add a little bit on what you have said, Malungu.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of these people in key decision-making roles actually know what the problems are, and this is something that Jeremiah always emphasizes on, together with the ED. The people out there actually know what the problems are. So our role then becomes to innovate, go there with solutions, and
Yeah.
anything, start acting on those solutions in our own little ways until it becomes something big that draws attention. So let's not be about complaining and wanting to let people know what the problems are. They actually know those problems, and those
Yeah.
people actually better statistics than we do in most instances. Like, attended a meeting when we were trying to start a conversation, and the parliamentarians actually gave us better statistics than we had. So, yeah, I think it's about holding hands and beginning to act while we still have the energy. We're young people who are full of energy with so much potential, and that is the reason why. That's one thing I love about it as well, because it's a platform of innovating. As Jeremiah said earlier, the to to innovate, and if it's going to fail, it's going to fail. But I must make mention that TYP is pretty much the winning team. Most of the things that we do have turned out as big successes because we have the
Yeah.
courage to and dream small but big. And, we dream big but start small. One thing
Yeah.
I've learned: you can start small, but your dream is big. You know what the bigger picture is, you know where you're going, and that is what TYP is about. TYP is about innovation, it's about the big dreams, it's about leadership, it's about putting young or strategically positioning young people like Jeremiah to be able to change big dreams that they've always had as young. So that's the thing.
Faith, I know your hand was up. Please. The floor is yours.
I feel like I feel
I want
you know those impulse contributions that just come to say it's here, and then when somebody blocks it, they just disappear. So in my head, I'm left with an idea
yeah.
of what I wanted to say. I have an idea of what I wanted to say. I'm just not sure if it will come out as exact as it was supposed to.
Great idea. Great idea.
I think it was in line. It was in line with what Igad mentioned, and I think part of it was what you mentioned as well. I feel like young people, we should also be what's the word again? But New York City residents, this word you must figure it out in my head.
Yeah. I'm not going to. Please.
Availing, like what you want as young people. I feel like when it comes to leadership, we are more in the what are they doing about it? But the question is, have you availed yourself for this responsibility? Have you availed yourself to be that change that you want to see? So avail yourself. I feel like there are so many platforms that have been created where even the government itself is interested to hear from the young people. But then you
Yeah.
find young people are more in the background, and most of the people that are in the background that don't want to sit where these people have created platforms to sit and make decisions, they are the ones who are, making everybody believe to say there is no space for young people to be heard. And I think that narrative should be changed. You know, the New York man can tell us about this. Like, how did he get it? I think it just didn't come by him, you know, like, no, Jeremiah, we want you to sit and represent this particular, come and talk about this. It started from somewhere. And I feel like the journey for you to see a change, it doesn't happen in one day.
Yeah.
It's a process. So that process begins with what and where do you want to start from. If you want to see change, let's say we have been talking about load shedding. Please, my personal opinion, don't arrest me. And then you have these ideas to say, no, I think they can bring a pump, get water from Zambezi and pour it in Lake Kariba. You know what I mean? Like, you're just sitting and you haven't practiced it. But then if you feel like you can do better in another way, like, find yourself in a place where these people are sitting, and then get to be heard, not just speaking behind and probably destroying the name of everybody that is trying to do good. So let's not be the background speakers, but let's try to avail ourselves. Research which platform talks about the change that I want to see. If I want to talk about early pregnant, for instance, I know I can go to TYP and given a platform to talk. Be there, talk about it, and somebody is going to hear. If you want to talk about great leadership or you want to talk about politicians, where are politicians found? How do I get myself to be in that channel of finally getting to talk to honorable? You know what I mean? So let's not
Yeah.
just talk in the background, but let's make a step. Get yourself involved in something that is going to lead you to have that problem that you're seeing to be resolved.
Okay, that's a very nice submission. Thank you so much, Faith. Right now my body has been itching. I just want to talk about New York, New York, New York, New York. I
What's
just
happening to the anointing, Malungo?
I think let me just let it out. Let me just let it out because I'm tired of keeping it. I think my throat is choking me because Jeremiah, please, can we please talk about New York? Yeah, I know you have been
Yes, please.
involved in lots of forums and now you're going to the international forums. So can you just tell us a bit about that and how TYP might be involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
And
Malungo.
let's put
So
you in there.
TYP is very much connected to the New York trip. Um, so
Nice.
there was a campaign that was happening a few months ago called the 1.8 billion What Young People Want campaign. So we hosted that alongside members of parliament. We had a series of meetings alongside partners like Plan International and many others. So from that conversation, fast forward to cut the long story short, someone liked what I said and they put my name forth to be a part of the Plan International Zambia delegation to the Summit of the Future. So every single year, different heads of state and governments meet in New York at the United Nations headquarters, where they discuss different issues that are affecting the globe. So just like at the Regional Adolescent Health Index every year we have a theme, these meetings every year have a theme. So this year's theme was the Summit of the Future. And basically, the name resonates because we are currently implementing, I think you know this, the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, these goals are supposed to end somewhere around 2030. So the
Yeah.
purpose of this summit was to see how we can accelerate, the attainment of these goals. And topmost on the agenda was just establishing how, we can accelerate this. And it was agreed that, you know what, we probably need to begin to think into the future, hence the name Summit of the Future. So one of the key things that happened was that during these days we agreed on what we are calling the Pact for the Future. And if you ask me, this is one of, my greatest honors thus far, to have been part of, coming up with something like this that affects the whole globe. So the pact covers a broad range of themes, and these include peace and security, sustainable development, climate change, digital cooperation, human rights, gender, youth, and future generations, global governance, you name it. Now, this is where it's important, and hear me, guys. The Pact for the Future has been adopted by Zambia. What this means is that as a country, the whole 20 million of us, we agree with what is in the Pact for the Future. Now, we are speaking about the role of young people in leadership. What we are supposed to do now as young people is read, study, and understand the Pact for the Future. Because the decisions that were made in New York affect us. Right?
Yeah.
By the way, in the Pact for the Future, you may be interested to know that there's, for example, what we are calling the Global Digital Compact and the Declaration on Future Generations. So there are all of these commitments that our leaders are making. This year, as Zambia, we were represented by our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and we
Okay.
agreed to this pact. So the next step for us as young people is to study this pact, understand, and begin to hold our duty bearers accountable, right? Begin to see ourselves being part of that pact. The word youth in the pact is mentioned about 38 times. This shows the significance of the young people in achieving
Exactly.
the path for the future.
Yeah.
So you go to your search engine, any browser, search for the pact for the future. This document is online. You go there, you study it, you understand it, because the most important thing about these global commitments is we need to contextualize it, right? And maybe this is where the gap has been missing. This is where the gap has been, if you ask me. I'll give you an example. When leaders met a few years ago and agreed on the sustainable development goals, the 17 of them, what did we do as a country? We adopted them from 1 to 17 the way they adopted them in New York. But those are not our priorities as a country. I'll give you an example. Right now, we are currently grappling with an energy crisis. So you can't tell me that our priority will be no poverty. Of course,
Yeah.
our priority right now will be energy. So, meaning we need to rearrange the goals, all the 17 of them. Maybe the 17 will be number one for us, and vice versa for another country. So we need to begin to contextualize these commitments that are made on the global front. It's good to agree on goals globally, but when we come back home, let's have an honest conversation with ourselves and say, yes, the pact is saying A, B, C, and D, but maybe for us, focusing on artificial intelligence is not the priority right now. So that is where the conversation is at right now. So I'll urge all young people who are listening, all young people who watch this after the show is done, that let us take in interest in hearing, in rather reviewing these documents and seeing ourselves being part of the process. So that was the formal side of things. Now the fun part of New York, guys, New York is nice.
I
Um,
was waiting for that.
the United Nations is nice. I felt very good being there, seeing how far I have come in my advocacy journey. I don't think it gets bigger than you being at the United Nations. And to any young person out there who's watching this, your dreams are valid. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible, right? It is possible. You are able to achieve this. Let us begin to be serious about our role as young people in leadership and decision making, in promoting health and well-being, in promoting climate change, in promoting governance, in promoting anything else. And like that, we will be able to be the change that we want to see. If you want to hear more about New York, please follow me on my social media platforms. There's information about what was happening there and many other things. But otherwise, it was a great pleasure. I met so many people. I interacted with different people. I was a VIP this side, guys. They were
Come
reserving
on.
seats.
Hey, we know talk about New York, but please leave those very good parts to yourselves because we're going to start getting here. Relax. Can you, anyway,
It's how everything was being well articulated, that it's like when he was talking he thought we were those delegates in the New York, and then I'm like, I think the only thing that's missing from Jeremiah is hi, I want, and then he just said it
the
class. If
accent.
you want to hear more about it, I'm like, okay, the accent is out. But anyway, we're proud of you, Jeremiah. We're really proud.
Yeah, and we are glad that TYP was able to lead you to that, and we are glad that I won't say it picked you because anyway, your energy and whatsoever you had to say, your intellect is the one that really drived it so much. But we are glad that TYP is able to provide a platform that can take you there because you're coming here with good information. If it wasn't for you, some of the youths who are here right now watching wouldn't even have known what's on the ground right now, wouldn't even have known the power that they have right now when it comes to decision making because it's very much linked. So kudos to you, Jeremiah. Kudos to TYP. And we are glad that you had an amazing trip. Iga, Faith, and I will be going to Brazil. So I'm joking. I'm
That
joking.
one is good. Now, before you close, Malungo, please, sorry, through the chair.
No, it's
I
okay.
just wanted to, I just wanted to, aside from saying congratulations, Jeremiah, and a great gratitude to TYP for the great platform and just making you go there. So I just want to any young person that is listening, I feel like this connects with what I have been talking about this far, to say if you want to see a certain change happen in your community when it comes to leadership, the well-being of the people, and things that are affecting the country or affecting you as an individual, get involved. You know what I mean? Now get involved with passion to see the change. And I think Jeremiah is the best definition for that. And after that has happened, I feel like let's not get excited to say, we look at Jeremiah and you'll be like, let me join TYP and kind of go to New York. The question is, are you willing to take up the responsibilities of what it takes when you are back from New York? Because then the country is expecting to see much more from you. So it all goes with passion. So join the right channels and be passionate to see the change that you want to see. And once you're passionate about the change, you get yourself in the right channels and you're going to execute with no issues at all. So I think for me, this was just my word.
Yeah,
Iga, do you
and
have any closing words?
yeah,
Oh,
even as you conclude, Malungo, I like what Faith has mentioned. One wise woman once told me, never chew your bubble gum for too long, right?
Who was
So
that wise woman? Who was that
New
wise
York is
woman?
past. New York is past. New York is behind us. Like Faith is saying, it's what next, right? And that's the
Yeah.
mentality we have at TYP. This has passed. What next? What can we do next? What can we? So don't join wanting. These are things that will naturally happen. Trust me, guys. It's the law of attraction. These things just happen. You know, as long as you put in the work, you're serious about what you're doing, you're always learning, you're relearning, you're committed, you're showing up, you're passionate, you're eloquent, you're smart. I mean, these are things that will happen. So just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. Egan, back to you. Any last words before we close up for the show?
I don't have any last words. It's been an amazing show. It's been amazing sharing this platform with you guys, and I look forward to next week's show.
Great. Me, I don't. There are no last words from me.
When Airtel comes in, just so you're about to have last words.
Whose last words?
Jeremiah is still gone. I think my network cut me for a bit, so I didn't even hear if he said anything. What happened?
You, oh my
No,
God,
Ida
you
did say
missed
his last words.
wisdom.
Oh,
You missed
it
wisdom.
was
Wisdom.
it
It
was
was
eager.
eager.
Okay, but otherwise, this has been an amazing show. I love how educative it has been. I love how involving it has been. I love how each one of us has a success story to tell to the people out there so that they can also learn, because at the end of the day, we are teaching each other. Us and the viewers and us, we're all teaching each other. Thank you so much, guys, my fellow hosts, for being here on the show with us today, because you guys have just released the data that everybody out there, all the youths in Zambia, needed to hear. It was an amazing show, and I hope I see this team next week. I'm kidding, we'll have new people, but yeah,
Yes, please.
been a show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Faith, please say bye to
Modena
your people.
Kapatulu, like, hey, thank you. The opportunity I was waiting for.
You see, I know you could read your mind.
Well, my last words on based on today's topic, guys. I bet to be corrected, but there was one of the press briefings, I think it was this year, where the president of Zambia, Mr. Hichilema, did mention to say, leading people is not easy. He did
Yeah.
say that in one of the press briefings. And today, I just want to tell the young people to say, in as much as we want to be the leaders, they say we are not the future leaders, but we are the leaders of today. Leadership comes with a lot of discipline and responsibility. And it's not something that you will just sit after getting full with Shema and Kapenda and say, I want to be a leader. Like Jeremiah did mention, it calls for you to study, understand, because for you to be a good leader, you need to understand what is in people's different minds. And Malongo did mention, let's not be reluctant. Let's get ourselves involved, because then we are going to learn better on personal interactions and just know what is going on. So leadership, guys, calls for commitment. Let's not just be blaming other people. Let's be the leader that we want to see. But being that calls for a lot of dedication and sacrifice. So yeah, thank you, Malongo.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. Thank you so much, Faith. We've now come to the end of the show. See you guys next week right here on the youth platform. Bye bye.
Thank you.